My name is Hamza Azhar Salam and you're watching the Pakistan Daily. Today we're with Mr. Awais Khan, the author of In the Company of Strangers, who's going to publish No Honor on the 19th of August. So Mr. Khan, how do you feel about your new book, No Honor?
Well, thank you so much, Hamza, for this opportunity, first of all, and I feel very excited. Any book by any author, they're always excited about their book coming out. But No Honor has special significance for me because it deals with a very difficult aspect of Pakistan's social scene. It deals with the concept of honor killings. So I'm very excited about the book, and I also, and it's my way of striving for change in Pakistan.
Okay, very nice. And I am one of the lucky readers who've already read No Honor. And I'd like to tell the viewers that I read the book in one go, and it's a very interesting story. So I'd like to ask you, how did you research honor killings in Pakistan, and how in depth was your research into this book?
Well, No Honor took 3 years to write. So it started off as a story, short story that I submitted to a magazine, and my agent took one look at it and she's like, you have to expand it into a novel because it's really, really well written. So research, yes, I had to visit rural areas of Pakistan. I had to see what life was like there. I had to interview people to get a gist of what honor entails for them. What is honor, and why is it so important that they have to kill women in order to preserve it? What's so significant about it? So all of that I had to take into account in order to write No Honor. But then again, it's not just a story of honor killing. It's also a story about love, as you've read it, love, relationships, and the power of family. So it's a hopeful story at the end of the day, but one that also exposes this horrible practice that exists in Pakistan.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And I was very intrigued by the character of Abda, who's the protagonist of the book, and her journey throughout. So what was the inspiration behind this particular character?
Well, Abda came to me, like I said, I started from a short story. So Abda came to me when I was, I think I'd recently finished In the Company of Strangers, and I was hoping to write something something different. I wanted to venture out of my comfort zone. And I think it was, we'd heard about in 2016, if you might remember, that there was a very high profile honor killing of a social media celebrity in Pakistan.
Qandeel Baloch.
Yes, Qandeel Baloch. So that gave me this, I was actually very, it was a horrible thing, but I wanted to go behind the scenes and see what made the brother commit such an atrocious act. What possessed him to engage in this madness? What drove these people? So that's where Abda came in, and that's how her father also came in the picture, Jamil, and that's how the story got started. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. And Jamil is a very different character from average Pakistani men. You could call him a rebel, an intellectual rebel, and he's inspired by his mother as well. So how did you figure out that you needed a strong father figure in the story to provide Abda, I don't want to give any spoilers, but to provide Abda some solace and relief?
Yeah, I think I wanted it to be a different story, because we read a lot of stories about how fathers kill their daughters. I wanted to go behind, once again, behind the curtain and to see what drives them to do this. Not that, you know, what possesses them to engage in this madness, how far does it all go, and why is it still happening in this day and age, and what we can do to stop it. So Jamil is kind of, Jamil was born from there, that change can happen if you know, we actively, like Jamil, as you said, was inspired by his mother and her, you can call her beliefs or her, I don't know, it's a difficult thing to explain, but yeah, I think he was influenced by his mother, and that made him a better person at the end of the day. And that's how change, sort of a small change, took place, that Jamil was different from the other men. So that was my point, that change can happen if, you know, we strive for it. So yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And in the beginning of the book, there's one part in which they're going to kill a girl for honor, and the Maulvi asks, do you choose love or honor? So do you think in real honor killings, is it that public of an event And do they? Is it a realistic representation of honor killings, or is it a bit dramatized?
Well, you see, fiction will always be a little dramatized, but I think we don't know what goes on in rural Pakistan, because you see, we don't even know what's going on in our cities half the time. Who knows what goes on in rural Pakistan? So I have heard of stories when I was there on research of public killings. So they do happen. I mean, they may happen very sporadically, and now with the advent of WhatsApp and all of that stuff, so it may be a bit, it may be in secret more, but I think even last year, there were like over 1,000 honor killings in Pakistan.
Which are reported. Many others
many
aren't
are
even
not
reported.
So yeah, it's totally possible as to what people say, as to what my research indicates, that there are public killings. Because obviously not everyone in rural Pakistan has access to a phone, because obviously coverage is so sketchy, so what's the point of having a phone? So yeah, so it's totally possible. Yeah.
Yes, very nice. And the name No Honor, where did you get that inspiration from?
That was actually the brainchild of my publisher, because this book was called something else before No Honor, but she said that this is something that makes it makes more sense, because there's no honor in killing women, and that's the point. That's the whole point of the book. So yeah, so that's where it came from. It was her idea.
Okay, very nice. And let's compare No Honor with your previous book, In the Company of Strangers, which I've also had the pleasure of reading. And that book is quite different from this one. The characters are extremely different. The setting, even though they're both based in Lahore, but the settings of the books are completely different. So how do you see your evolution as a writer? You've been writing for the last 10 years. So how do you describe your evolution as a novelist?
Well, I think it's all about venturing out of your comfort zone. So In the Company of Strangers was mostly based on observation, because I was moving around in that particular social circle, so I saw what went on and all the horrible practices that people engaged in and everything. So I tried to shine a light on that. But with No Honor, I wanted to venture out of my comfort zone. So I think writing, and I think at the end of the day, we as writers have a responsibility to speak out about what's going on in our country and all the malpractices and injustices that exist in our country. So if we won't speak out, then who will? So as a journalist probably you have the same disposition, that journalism is also about that. It's about getting the facts out there. It's about making your voice heard. So I think writers are the same. So we also want to get our voice heard and make change, to create change.
Okay, very nice. And what kind of books do you generally like to read? And are there any writers you're particularly fond of?
I read everything. I mean, mostly fiction. I'm very much biased towards fiction, but I love reading literary fiction. I love historical fiction. I have a very soft spot for thrillers. So whenever I'm in a mood of I wouldn't call it a comfort read, but whenever I'm in the mood of an easy read or a compelling read, I go for a thriller. But I have lots of favorite authors. If I start listing them now, it'll probably be nightfall by the time I'm done. But yeah, I think I grew up reading J.K. Rowling and Enid Blyton, and then I moved on to literary authors like Donna Tartt, and I loved The Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. But then again, I love thriller writers as well. I've made some really good friends in that circle as well. So some of them are represented by my own agency. So there are lots of, like A.H. Audrey is a very good thriller author, and then I have another thriller author, Alan Gorevan, and Faika Mansab is an amazing Pakistani author. So I read all sorts of stuff.
But if you had to name one novel which has shaped you as a writer the most, which one would it be?
Oh God, I have no idea, to be honest. I think one novel. I do remember reading Harry Potter like 50, 60 times. I think I've read each of those books 50 or 60 times. So like maybe I think Harry Potter. I remember I used to strive. I used to try to be like Hermione. I was like, if she can do it, then maybe I can also do it. So, she made me strive for academic excellence in a way. So I think Harry Potter really influenced me. It might be a very simple or easy book to allude to, but I don't know. I'm really close to it.
Okay, very nice. And tell us about your beginning of your journey as an author. What inspired you to delve into the realm of fiction and to become a writer? You already work in construction and you have a solid career. So why did you come into this industry?
I think I was always a reader. I think, and that sort of gave. I think reading is what triggers everything. So that triggered the love for writing, and it wasn't until I had graduated from college and everything that I took it seriously. So it was in 2012 that I took the Faber Academy course, the novel writing course, the online version, and that literally changed my life. It was with the Faber Academy and Professional Writing Academy, and the stuff I learned there, that was like the building blocks of what I would become later on. So that's where the journey began. That's where I started writing in The Company of Strangers, and I got such amazing feedback from my tutor and peers that I thought that, yeah, maybe I am a writer. So that's where the journey began, but it was very hard to get it out. In The Company of Strangers, it took many years for it to get published, because you have to find an agent first, you have to get it edited properly, you have to edit it yourself and everything. So it was a very long journey.
So tell us about the timelines about your books. How long does it usually take for you to finish a book?
Writing a book is not that hard. I mean, it takes me, no Honor took me quite a while. It took me 3 years, but in The Company of Strangers, I wrote it within 6 months. But after that, it was the whole process of editing it and then getting a publisher, an agent for it. Finding an agent took quite a few years of my life. And then obviously, once you do have an agent, there's no guarantee that you'll get a publisher. And for a Pakistani author based in Pakistan, it's even more difficult, because at the end of the day, publishing is a business. They have to believe in that book, and they have to believe in the fact that it will sell, right? Because they have to make money as well. So a lot of publishers didn't think that In the Company of Strangers would do well in the UK. But a small UK publisher took a chance on me, and it's done really well there. And then it did really well in South Asia as well.
Okay, very nice. And we were just talking about some of the controversies In the Company of Stranger became a part of. So would you like to tell some of the negative feedback you received on this book?
Yes, I mean, with any thing that you put out in the world, you'll get both positive and negative feedback. It's very important to take both of them as they are. So that's the first rule of fiction writing, that if you're writing about something, it does not necessarily mean you believe in it. Like, for example, if I'm writing about a murder, it doesn't make me a murderer. So that's, I think there's a very fine distinction between that. So yes, disagree with the book, give it bad reviews. I mean, go ahead and say whatever you want about the book, but don't malign the author with it. I think that's where we have to
draw the line.
Draw the line, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But this also shows that your book created impact, and it pushed people's buttons. So when they did react in that way, it meant that it did impact them. So I would say it's a praise to you as an author for pushing their buttons.
I guess. I mean, that's a good way to put it. But yeah, I try to take it all in my stride, both positive and negative feedback. I think negative feedback really grounds you as well, because that reminds you that you still have a very long way to go. And I think writing is a process. At the end of the day, you keep improving, you keep honing that craft. So nobody's ever perfect. So I feel that I'm always growing as a writer, and any negative feedback, I take it in my stride. I try to improve and I try to do better. So, yeah.
Okay, very nice. And one question I want to ask you as a reader of No Honor, and it's that, did you purposely make it extremely sorrowful in the middle so that readers couldn't put it down? Because I felt really, I almost cried reading it, and I couldn't put it down until I finished it.
I've gotten that a lot from advanced readers, that they're like, this is the only book that I've ever shed a tear over. But no, it wasn't deliberate actually, but I wanted to show that just escaping to a big city doesn't mean that your life will immediately get better, because our big cities come with their own set of challenges, and I think that part in the novel also made the hope afterwards a bit sweeter in that way. So I won't give anything away now, but yeah. So I think it's all a part of you see that's how a book is written. So it follows a linear fashion. So you have to build it up until the climax is actually interesting and engaging for a reader.
Yes, very interesting. So Mr. Khan, let's talk a bit about the publishing scene in Pakistan. So we see a lot of aspiring writers who want to publish books, and they're good enough writers, but they find it extremely difficult to get agents and publishers in Pakistan. So how do you view this industry in this country?
Yes, I do agree with the fact that there is a lot of talent in this country. There are so many amazing writers out there, and it makes me very sad when I see that there are no avenues available for them. Because if you're a Pakistani author, we had a very thriving publishing industry in India. So India has the regional offices of all the main publishers. So Penguin Random House, HarperCollins, Hachette, Simon Schuster. They all have their offices in India, and they were publishing Pakistani authors. Dozens of Pakistani authors were getting published there. But ever since the book ban happened in 2019, that avenue has also stopped for us, so closed for us. So now Pakistani authors we can't get published in India that much. I mean, because like I said, at the end of the day, those publishers have to make money. If they can't send the book over to Pakistan, then what's the point of publishing a Pakistani author? So they have to make that business decision as well. So now what we're left with is we can either go with Pakistani publishers. There are some really good, nice indie publishers that have come out, but they have very little, they don't have a lot of resources. So they don't have that kind of marketing budget or anything to make your book immense. So, and the other option is getting self-published. So Pakistan, and there are no agents in Pakistan either. So we're left with the only other choice we're left with is to approach UK or US agents. And competition is so cutthroat at the best of times that what chance would an author in Pakistan have, among all those tens of thousands of other writers? So it is so difficult, and it has become even more difficult after the book ban. So yeah, it's not a very good time to be a writer in Pakistan, unfortunately. But I think things will change. Like everything in life, nothing is constant. So it's always an emerging situation.
Yes, you're right. And what would you like to tell us about the financial aspects of being a writer? So can a young Pakistani individual ever desire to become a full-time writer which pays enough to pay his bills and have a comfortable life?
Not initially, I think. Yes, there are always these stories that you hear of $1 million deals and all of that. That does happen. But for a Pakistani author, I think it will take time, because even I am struggling. I don't write full time. I can't. So I can't even consider that, because I would totally be on the streets. But yeah, the thing is that it gets better. So with each subsequent book you earn more, and then you keep, and the royalties from the previous books keep supplementing your income. So by the time you're at book 5 or 6, you're in a very good position, and you may have that chance to become a full-time writer. But unless you get there, it's very wise to have another job as well that supplements your writing income.
But what advice would you like to give to young writers in Pakistan who are unsure of this, who have a lot of fire in them, have a lot of passion, but they're unsure of this unfamiliar realm in which they don't know anybody? So what would you like to say to them?
Well, I think write because you love writing, write for the love of writing, because if you look at the financial side of things, then it's not very motivating. So I think if you love writing, then don't give up. Keep writing, keep submitting to agents, because all it takes is that one person to like your work. So it's not about 1,000 people liking it, and it's a very subjective market out there. So if one person doesn't like your work, that's not the end of the world. So another person may think very differently. So if you have a passion for writing, I'd say don't give up. Do take courses. I think they really help, and I'm not saying that because I'm the founding director of the Writing Institute, but I genuinely feel that courses really, really help you, because not only do they help you with writing, they also build a sense of community. So you meet fellow writers and you become friends with them, and they keep helping each other over the passage of time. So that's how.
Okay, very nice. And tell us a bit about the Writing Institute. What does it do?
So I started it in 2016. I remember when I came back, I had taken the Faber Academy course and I had absolutely loved it. And I thought that there should be something like that in Pakistan, but cheaper, because paying £4,000 for a course or £2,000, it's quite steep. So it's a huge decision for anyone. So I wanted there to be courses where people wouldn't think too much, and they would just, if they're interested, they could register. So that's where the Writing Institute came in. But initially I got a lot of flack, and a lot of people ridiculed me. They're like, what are you starting? Nobody wants to write in Pakistan. What are you talking? What are you doing? So I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. So I think, for 1 year, there was no profit at all, and I incurred a huge loss. But then as word got out and as word of mouth improved about the courses, then the classes started filling up, and today it makes a decent profit, and there's so many. I think I've taught thousands of writers in Pakistan.
Wow.
So there are lots of passionate writers here who want to learn, and I have plenty of students who've gone on to get published as well. So some of them have gotten published in anthologies. Some of them have even published their own books. Others have gotten published in newspapers and magazines. So yeah, so it's really nice.
Very nice. And how much do you charge for the courses?
Yeah, so that was a decision I made very early on, that I will not charge the world. So I charge only 9,900 rupees for that.
Wow.
For a 5 or 6
Under
week
50
course.
pounds.
Under 50, yeah, that's what I had in mind. I was like, it should be something that's easily affordable and people can register without thinking too much. I mean, yes, I understand that for most people this is still a big decision to make about spending 10,000 rupees, but that was the best I could do in order to maintain the quality of the course as well, because it was very important to me that the quality should be good as well, and they should get a lot of face-to-face time with me as well. So that this was the best I could do, and I think a lot of people agree with me in the fact that it's pretty reasonable.
Okay, very nice. And let's go back to No Honor. It's coming on the 19th of August, you said. So will it be available in bookshops in Lahore and Karachi, Islamabad?
Yes, thankfully yes, because the Orenda Books were publishing it in the UK, so they're distributed by Simon & Schuster UK. So yes, the book will be available in Liberty Books. It will be available at Readings in Lahore, and hopefully in Said Book Bank as well. But it should also be available online, so anyone in any other city of Pakistan can easily order it from Readings or Liberty Books. And they have a very competitive price as well. So it's not like it's 2,000 rupees or anything. It's like 1,000 or 1,100. So yeah, so it's and if nothing else works, they can always order directly from me. So just get in touch with me on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and I can always organize a signed copy.
Okay, very nice. And Mr. Khan, I'd also like to ask you about a new realm of reading, which is ebooks, and Amazon Kindle has played a big part in that. So a lot of people, they're not buying physical hard copies or paperbacks, they're buying digital copies, which is easy to produce. You just have to produce one and it can be multiplied till an infinite value. So how do you view writing, and how do you view the start of this online industry?
Yeah, I think it's pretty commendable. I think a lot of people back when ebooks first came in, a lot of people said that this is the ultimate demise of the print book, and the print book will vanish in a few years. But it's all been proven wrong. It's actually expanded the market. So print books are still, even more books are being bought now, print books, and even more ebooks are being bought. So it's kind of expanded the readership. So I think it's pretty good news, and a lot of readers who cannot access our books get a chance to access them. Like, for example, a lot of people may not have a bookstore in the vicinity. So that's where ebooks come in, and they can just buy it on the press of a button. So for example, I have a Kindle as well. So I have like 4,000 books in my actual library, and I have, I don't know, hundreds of ebooks as well. So I try to read both. So I think publishing we found a very nice symbiotic relationship, or a nice sort of, I don't know, a good relationship in a way. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. And I also read No Honor online. And one thing I realized is that if the story is strong enough, it doesn't matter what medium is being used to narrate that story. But if the story has strength, then whether it's a book, physical book, or online, you're going to enjoy it. But overall, I think, even though I write on the laptop every day, I'm a digital journalist, but I still feel that when I read books, either fiction or non-fiction, I like, a physical copy. Do you share this sentiment at all?
Oh yes, absolutely. I love a proper book. I can't read with, I can read ebooks, but that's only when I cannot find that anywhere else. If I can't find that actual book anywhere, then I'll buy an ebook. But otherwise, there's nothing like a proper book in my hand, because it's the entire experience. You see the paper, the cover, the whole holding a book open, and I think that's the experience, and that's really important for me.
Okay, very nice. And Mr. Khan, would you like to send any message to your readers who've enjoyed your book and who are desperately waiting for No Honor to come into the market?
Well, my message to readers would be that please buy the original if you can, because there's a lot of piracy in Pakistan. Illegal booksellers are printing original books and they're selling them for like 200 or 250. Remember, that money does not come to the authors and publishers who rightfully deserve it. That money goes into the pocket of that illegal printer or bookseller or whatever. So always invest. If you want to read an author, please invest in their original book, because that way they'll be rewarded for that work, and that will spur them on to keep producing work. Because if you keep buying pirated books and the author doesn't earn any money, so then why would the author keep writing books? So you see, so that is my message to everyone here, that please buy the original of both In the Company of Strangers and No Honor. They do not cost a lot. It's like literally they cost a cup of, they're the same price as a cup of coffee, like at Gloria Jeans or whatever, Cafe Mocha or whatever. That's how much they cost. So just go ahead and invest in a proper original copy instead of pirated ones.
So Mr. Khan, in the end, I'd like to make a personal request, since I'm a huge fan of your work, and I'd like to request you to please sign In the Company of Strangers for me, for my collection.
Of course, that would be my honor and pleasure. And thank you so much for having me here today. It was an absolutely amazing experience. And yeah, so all the best with the Pakistan Daily. I'm a huge fan of yours as well. And yeah, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. It was a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you.